Hi everybody, today we're cooking a good fall soup. It's got cabbage and kale and potatoes and leeks and all kinds of vegetables, and then it has different sausages, Italian sausage, kielbasa. I've got a brat in here. This is Arkansas bacon if you can get it. It's a nice touch to add to it for flavor. And then I smoked this chicken last night. And when I smoke chicken, I usually smoke a couple at a time, and we're gonna use the smoked chicken in the soup. When we're done with the soup, we can eat some tonight and then can freeze the rest for another time, because tonight it's just me and my husband. I was gonna show you this Italian sausage. In Oklahoma, we have this as a local sausage. And so I bought that, and it comes like this in a tube. So on one long one, I'm gonna slice it, and then we're gonna brown the sausages in a little olive oil. And once that's browned, then while that's browning, I'm going to debone the chicken, and then we'll chop up the rest of the vegetables. So I'm going to cut these up into bite-sized pieces. Using a serrated knife kind of helps cut through the casing. And you could just buy ground Italian sausage, not in casing, and fry it up like hamburger meat. Okay, I've got all the sausages cut up. I'm going to put them in the pan with the olive oil and brown them. I'm just going to brown those up. A minute. I'm going to cut up this one piece of Arkansas bacon, and to add flavor to my soup, it's just going to go in the chicken stock. If you've never had Arkansas bacon, it's the best. You can see it's really thick bacon. Now I'm going to work on deboning the chicken, and when I do that, I take the skin off of it. Which the skin has a lot of flavor, but it's cooked into the meat and it's smoked in, so we still have a lot of flavor. These smoked chickens, to have them pre-made, they're just an easy go-to meal, to make all kinds of dishes and make it quick and easy when you get home to throw something together. There's a lot of things you can do with the chicken. We'll have to do several recipes with all of it, so you can see how easy it is when you get home from work. My sausage is ready to put in the pot, and I'm going to leave the grease because when I chop up the vegetables, I'm going to saute them in this and then add them to the pot. You're going to back up. So right now I'm just transferring it over. Some of them just take a little longer. They're going to keep cooking in the chicken stock. On this, you can use, I just use those choices of meat. You can use any kind of sausages that you like, or veggie sausages. And you don't have to use all of these. The kielbasa Polish sausage, sometimes that's all people use, but I like the different textures and the different flavors of the different sausages. So it's just up to you what you want to use in it. So since I have all the sausage in it, I'm not going to use the whole chicken. I'm just using the white meat in it. You can make this with just chicken and not do the sausage if you want, and then use the whole chicken if you do that. But now we'll just chop it up. So I've chopped all the chicken, and I'm going to add it to the pot, and then I will add the chicken stock. I'll show you that. And then while that's on simmer, I'm going to chop all the vegetables and saute them and then put them in. But I'm going to let the meat go ahead and start simmering in the chicken stock. Okay, and I'm going to fill the pot. about 5 or 6 cups basically. And you can add half chicken and stock and half water if you want to. See, that's actually not enough, so I need to add some water. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a cup of water to add more juice to it. When I add all the vegetables, I may end up adding more. I'll probably end up adding more juice. While that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and add a bay leaf to it, with the meat. If I can get it out. Add just a bay leaf in there. I'm gonna go ahead and add some kosher salt. And some cracked pepper. If you don't have cracked pepper, you can just use black pepper, not just normal ground. There. And I'll add a little Italian seasoning. And we'll taste it and see if we need to add more seasoning in a little while. Okay, I'm gonna start chopping up my vegetables, and I'll start off with the garlic. Basically what I'm gonna do is put some olive oil. I'm gonna put a little bit in the pan, in the pot, just a little, and I'm gonna put some more in the pan that I'm gonna stir fry all the vegetables. And I'm gonna start with the garlic. I always want to lose those things. So I've already cut my mushrooms, and I'm slicing my carrots now. And I've got celery, red potatoes, a couple of green onions. I'm gonna go ahead and put spinach in it this time, and kale. I always like kale in it. And then 3 leeks and a small head of cabbage. I like to use different assorted vegetables in my meals because I like to get all the vegetables you can and do a one-pot meal. So I'll just take the kale and just cut the green leafy part into. This adds a lot of bulk too, and it cooks down, but it's very healthy. Now I'm gonna cut the leeks, and I'm gonna take all of this and stir fry it while I cut the cabbage. Cut these one at a time. So you want to cut on the leeks, on the leeks you want to cut the white part and part of the lighter green, but you don't want to go into it more than that. Peel the outer layer off, make it a little easier. So I have my garlic and olive oil in the frying pan, and I'm going to add my leeks, my mushrooms, my carrots, my celery, and the spinach and kale to it to go ahead and saute it up. We're just sauteing it. It doesn't have to be fully cooked because it's going to keep cooking in there. The potatoes will still be crunchy. Now that all of that has cooked out, I'm gonna go ahead and add the kale to it. My pot was my pan wasn't big enough for everything. So I'm adding that to saute with it. It's almost done. You don't really need that much. It's just cooking it down a little bit. So this looks good. The kale is now cooked down in it enough, and I'm gonna pour this into the chicken stock with the meat. And then while that's simmering, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the red potatoes and the cabbage and put those in here for just a little while so that they can cook down a little bit, and then add that to the pot of stew too. Oops. So this is what it's starting to look like with the vegetable and stuff. We still have more to add, but then you just let it keep simmering, and the longer it simmers, the more of the flavors go together and taste more yummy. So I'm cutting the potatoes up. I'm using about, it's red potatoes, and they're bigger ones. You can use smaller ones and then just cut them, you know, in half or four. Since these are bigger, I'm cutting them up smaller. Just gonna dice them up. And you know, if you're a vegetarian and you don't want all the meat, this would be yummy without, and use a vegetable stock and don't put the meat in it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and season up the potatoes like they are, and then I'll go ahead and put them in the pot while I cut the cabbage. But that way, because it just kind of helps to get the salt, especially the kosher salt, to get it already on here. It gives it some flavor. Now I'll add a little garlic salt. And this grinder. Okay, and then I'm going to put more olive oil in my pan because I used it all, and I'm going to turn it back on to medium. Let it get a little hot, already kind of hot. And I'm going to put these over in it. We're not looking to cook them all the way. We're just sauteing them a little bit and letting them get a little flavor with the salt, with the oil, and then put them in the chicken stock. The cabbage is already washed. I take off the first layer. And you just need a small head of cabbage for this. And I just cut around the core. Same thing with the cabbage. I'm gonna go ahead and season it. Cabbage picks up flavor very quickly. It absorbs it. So, and it'll hold it in the food too. So I'm gonna make sure it has a little of the salt and pepper. This cracked pepper is harder to get it out than the other. I'll go ahead and add a little Italian seasoning to it to get a little more in there. Okay, so I'm gonna add it on top of the potatoes now. As much as I can. It will have to cook down. If you have a bigger pot, you can do all of the vegetables at the same time. The only reason I'm doing them in sections is because I only have a small pot. If you have a bigger pan, then you can saute them all together at one time. I'm moving it around just to get the cabbage underneath the potatoes so that it can get a little soft, and then we can add it to the soup. This looks good to me. You really don't need much. So it's cooked down enough, and I'm going to add it to the stock now. And then what we'll do after that is, I'm going to turn off the stove. Once we add it to the stock, we'll add more chicken stock. You just want enough to cover everything, so you can kind of eyeball it to see how much you need. And if you don't have enough chicken broth, you can always add more water, because there is chicken broth in it. And you have a lot of flavors. Cabbage will keep cooking down, so it's got a good amount of broth in it. but I'm going to add just a little bit more, and then just like that. That looks good to me. And then what we'll do is put a lid on it and let it simmer. This is also a great one to put in the crock pot and let it simmer all day. One thing I like about this soup is it's easy to save. You can freeze it and save it for another day, and then it's already made, and when you get home from work, all you gotta do is microwave it. So it is ready to eat. It's bubbly. I kept it on low and cooked it. It just need, you know, when it's all bubbly, it's done. The longer it cooks, the better, because it smells really good. And the longer you cook it, the more it melds the flavors. If you crock pot it, you just keep it on low, and it really melds all the flavors together. So it's ready to serve up. You get all those vegetables. I'm gonna add juice to this. You get a lot of healthy vegetables here. Hold on. Ooh, that burnt me. Get some of that sausage in there. Okay. Enjoy your fall soup. It's great for a gathering watching football games. Thanks for watching. Be sure and hit that subscribe button. Bye.